The sun was barely up when Amanda woke to the sound of pots clanging and feet stomping in the kitchen. Another day had begun in the house she once thought would be her safe haven. She dragged her tired body from the mattress, tied her old kitenj around her waist, and walked into the kitchen, only to meet her mother-in-law's sharp eyes. "Amanda, did you forget you're the wife here? The water isn't even boiling. What kind of woman sleeps past 6 a.m.? Mom and Jerry hissed, placing her hands on her waist. Amanda didn't say a word. She simply walked over to the stove, lit the burner, and placed the kettle on it. Her bones ached. She had slept late the night before after cleaning, cooking, ironing, and even stitching her sister-in-law Zippy's torn jeans, all without a word of thanks. She turned around to find Zippy entering the kitchen with loud chewing gums in her mouth and a phone glued to her ear. "Amanda, there's no sugar in my tea. Don't you check these things in the morning?" Zippy shouted, ending her call without waiting for Amanda's response. "I'll go get some," Amanda muttered. "Good. And don't take forever. The last time you went to the market, you bought those soft tomatoes. Even the dogs wouldn't eat them," Zippy added with a wicked laugh. Amanda's hands tightened around the shopping bag. The same Zippy whose tuition she had paid just 2 weeks ago. The same Zippy who couldn't even buy her own sanitary pads without Amanda's silent help. But here she was, insulting her like she was a burden in the home. Amanda stepped out into the early morning sun, breathing in the dusty air as she walked towards the nearby market. She held her tears. Not here. Not outside. She needed to stay calm. Just a few more days. She passed a group of women seated near a kiosk. As usual, they stared. That's the wife of Tom," one whispered. "She doesn't work, right? She just eats and stays in the house. I hear the mother-in-law even does the cooking sometimes." Another added. Amanda didn't defend herself. What would be the point? She knew what they didn't, that it was her small online clothing business that paid for everything in the house. Her husband, Tom, had been struggling with jobs ever since COVID hit. She never blamed him. Instead, she stepped up. Quietly. Lovingly. But his family saw none of that. To them, she was just the useless wife who sits at home. As she entered the market, the Mama Boga smiled. "Karibu, Amanda. Now Leo and I Nini." She forced a smile and picked the fresh tomatoes. As she haggled over the prices, her phone buzzed. A message from her husband. "Don't forget to cook meat today. Mom says your food has no taste lately." Amanda stared at the screen. "No, good morning, no, thank you, no appreciation. Just instructions." Like she was the help. On her way back, she bought the meat, bread, and a bottle of juice, things she was paying for from the money she earned. Yet no one knew. No one cared. Back home, the shouting had already started. "Amanda, where have you been? You go to the market like you're going to America." Mom and Jerry snapped as Amanda walked in. Before Amanda could respond, Zippy grabbed one of the tomatoes and squashed it in her hand. "Again with these soft tomatoes. Are you allergic to fresh ones?" Amanda looked at her husband, who had just entered and was removing his shoes without a single glance at her. "Nothing." She placed the bags down and walked silently to the kitchen. That night, after serving everyone their food, making sure the meat was extra soft, just how Mom and Jerry liked it, Amanda sat at the edge of the bed with her back turned to her husband. "You didn't even ask me how my day was," she whispered. Tom shrugged. "What is there to ask? You're home all day." Her heart shattered. She wanted to scream, to shake him, to tell him that being home didn't mean peace. It meant being insulted, overworked, underappreciated. But instead she said nothing. She just stared at the ceiling. But in her heart, a quiet storm began to brew. Let them think she was soft. Let them believe she was weak. They were about to learn the price of mistaking silence for stupidity. The next few days rolled by like a punishment. Amanda kept her mouth shut, but her heart boiled daily. The insults didn't stop. The disrespect grew louder. But Amanda was no longer just surviving. She was watching, waiting. It was on a Friday afternoon when it happened. Zippy came home with her usual loud footsteps, but this time she wasn't alone. 3 young women walked in behind her, laughing like they owned the house. Their heavy perfume slapped Amanda in the face before they even reached the living room. Zippy dropped her bag on the floor. "Amanda, we need juice. And don't bring that cheap one from the kiosk. Bring the mango one in the fridge," she said, her long purple nails tapping on her phone. Amanda raised her head from the couch where she had just sat down for the first time that day. She looked at Zippy, then at the girls all dolled up in tight dresses, fake lashes, and cheap heels. One of them walked around the living room and said, so this is where your brother lives. It's cute but small. Zippy laughed. Blame Amanda. She doesn't work, so he has to carry everything alone. Amanda's lips twitched. Everything. One of the girls sat on the couch, barely looking at Amanda. Zippy, is this the wife? Yes, Zippy replied loudly. The one who doesn't do anything. Amanda stood slowly, walked to the fridge and brought out the juice. No one said thank you. Not even a smile. As she poured the juice into glasses, one of the girls whispered loudly to Zippy, honestly, if I was your brother, I'd have married someone with ambition. She looks tired. The glass in Amanda's hand trembled slightly, but she smiled. A calm, dangerous smile. That evening, Tom came home. Amanda watched from the kitchen as he greeted Zippy and her friends, laughing with them like old schoolmates. Not even a glance in Amanda's direction. They all sat in the living room like it was a club. Loud music, fake laughs, nonsense talk. Amanda prepared dinner. A full meal, ugali, sukuma, beef stew, kachumbari, and fresh juice. She placed it gently on the table and called out, food is ready. Zippy rolled her eyes. We already ordered pizza. One of the girls added, yeah, this food looks heavy. I don't want to sleep with indigestion. Amanda stood there for a second, looking at the plates of untouched food. Her sweat, her effort, her money. Zippy smirked. Anyway, thanks. You can eat it. Amanda blinked slowly. She turned and walked away. But deep inside, something broke. Later that night, long after the guests had left and Tom had gone to bed, Amanda sat on the cold kitchen floor with her knees to her chest. She didn't cry. She laughed. Quiet, bitter laughter. The kind that comes when you've had enough. She stood up and went to her small office room where she ran her business. Her phone buzzed with new orders. Sales were booming. Yet she was being treated like a beggar in her own home. She opened her financial folder and started printing. Receipts of the house furniture she had bought, couch, fridge, curtains. Receipts of Zippy's school fees. Receipts of Mom and Jerry's hospital medication. Receipts of Wi-Fi payments. Groceries. Gas refills. Electricity bills. She stacked them neatly in a clear folder. Then she sat down and wrote something she had never dared before. A letter. Not a rude one. Not even angry. Just honest. She addressed it to Mom and Jerry, and it started like this. Dear Mama, I hope this finds you well. I've served you, respected you, and tried to love you. But in your eyes, I'm just a burden. You do not know the truth, but it's time you learn. She poured her heart onto that paper. By 1 a.m., Amanda placed the folder and the letter on the dining table. Then she went to bed. She didn't touch her husband. She didn't cry. She just smiled into her pillow. Let the morning come. The game had changed. Morning came like thunder. The smell of fresh mandatsi floated through the air, but Amanda didn't wake up early to make it. She stayed in bed longer than usual, the silk of her pillow cool on her cheek, her lips curled into a calm smile. In the dining room, Mom and Jerry sat sipping tea, the one Amanda had not made. Her mood was already sour. Zippy scrolled through her phone, yawning loudly. Amanda is still sleeping? Lazy girl. Mom and Jerry spat. A whole mother-in-law is waiting for breakfast. Zippy chuckled. Maybe she dreams of being a CEO in her sleep. They didn't notice the clear folder on the dining table until Zippy moved her elbow and knocked it off. What's this? She said, picking up the documents. Looks like receipts? Mom and Jerry leaned forward. Is this food shopping? Fees? This handwriting looks like. Amanda walked in. Slowly, confidently. Her long satin robe swayed behind her. Her afro puff was full and glorious. No makeup. No stress. Just bold peace. She poured herself a glass of juice. Sat across from them. Good morning, she said softly. Neither of them responded. Instead, Mom and Jerry flipped to the next receipt. Who paid this? I did, Amanda said, sipping her juice. All of it. Zippy scoffed. You're lying. Amanda reached into her robe and gently slid her bank statement across the table. You can match every transaction with my M-Pesa. Zippy's eyes widened. You paid the rent? I bought the house, Amanda corrected. Locking eyes with her. It's in my name. Your brother signed it to me when we got married. Ask him. Silence. Cold, dry silence. Amanda stood and walked over to them. She picked up the letter she had written and handed it to Mom and Jerry. I thought it was time you knew the truth. I didn't want recognition. I just wanted peace. Mom and Jerry's hands trembled as she opened the letter. She read it slowly. Amanda watched her eyes shift from pride to confusion to shame. "You paid for my hospital medicine?" she whispered. "Yes. And Zippy's tuition. And her birthday cake last month. Even the data you used to call your relatives." Zippy was still holding the receipts like they were burning her hands. "Why didn't you tell us?" she muttered. "Because I wasn't doing it to show off," Amanda said. "I was doing it because I love this family. But that love has never been returned." Just then, the door opened. Tom walked in, briefcase in hand. "Good morning." He paused. "What's going on?" Amanda turned to him. "Your family just found out that the woman they've been calling lazy is the reason this roof is still above your head." Tom frowned. "Amanda, I told you not to start drama." Amanda laughed. Loud. Sharp. "You're calling truth drama? For months I've let them insult me in front of you and you kept quiet. I was cooking, cleaning, working while they called me useless and you just watched." Tom placed his briefcase on the couch. "You should have told them." "No, you should have told them," Amanda snapped, standing tall. "Because you knew. And you said nothing." Zippy stood up angrily. "So what now, Amanda? You want us to clap for you?" "No," Amanda replied, walking past her. "I want you to pack." Mom and Jerry gasped. "What did you say?" Amanda turned around slowly. "This is my house. And I'm done living with people who treat me like trash. So unless you start contributing something to this house, other than insults, you are no longer welcome here." Zippy grabbed her phone. "I'm calling your husband." Amanda smiled. "Please do. He already knows." Tom stood still, his mouth slightly open. "Amanda." "No, Tom," she said calmly. "You made your choice when you let them treat me like a dog. Now I'm making mine." She walked to the bedroom, paused, then looked over her shoulder. "You have 24 hours to decide who stays in this house. Me or your family. And darling, I'm not begging to stay." Then she closed the door. Behind it, she exhaled deeply. Her hands shook a little, but her heart was steady. For the first time in a long time, Amanda had chosen herself. And that was just the beginning. Zippy didn't sleep that night. Neither did Mom and Jerry. The silence in the house was louder than any insult they had ever thrown at Amanda. Tom sat alone in the living room, rubbing his forehead, sweating even though the fan was on. Amanda's words haunted the air like a ghost. "Me or your family." He had never seen her like that. Strong, calm, untouchable. For the first time, he realized. She wasn't just his wife. She was the backbone of that house. Mom and Jerry, wrapped in her faded blue lasso, paced up and down the corridor. "How dare she talk to me like that?" "Me? I carried my son for 9 months. Zippy interrupted. "You also let her pay your hospital bills, Mama." The word stung. Tom knocked on the bedroom door. "Amanda, can we talk?" She opened it, halfway. "I'm listening," she said, arms folded. He sighed. "I didn't mean for it to go this far." "But you let it," Amanda said coldly. "You let your sister insult me in my own house. You let your mother turn me into a maid. They're my family. And I was your wife," she said sharply. "The woman who kept this house running. The one who covered your shame when you were broke. The one who never judged you. Yet you stood there like a statue while they dragged me through the mud." Tom looked down. "I thought you'd tell them the truth." "I wanted peace, not praise." Amanda took a deep breath. "I gave you a choice. 24 hours. It's ticking." Tom returned to the living room and found Mom and Jerry staring at the TV, not even watching it. "Ma, I think you and Zippy should start packing." "What? Are you chasing me out because of that woman?" she shouted. "She's not just that woman. She's my wife. And everything in this house, she paid for it." Mom and Jerry's voice cracked. "You've changed, Tom." "No, Ma. I've finally seen clearly. I let you turn my home into a battleground." Zippy stormed out of her room. "I'm not going anywhere." Tom looked at her, eyes sharp. "Zippy, you've graduated. You're 24. Get a job. You've lived off my wife for 2 years and still had the nerve to insult her daily. It's enough." Zippy's jaw dropped. "I just wanted better for you," Mom and Jerry tried to say. "No, Ma. You wanted control." He walked away. By morning, Amanda walked into the kitchen and found only Tom sitting there, a cup of tea in hand. Silence. She checked the bedrooms. Zippy's things were gone. Mom and Jerry's blanket was folded on the couch. They were gone. Amanda turned to Tom. "I didn't think you'd do it." He stood, walked toward her, but didn't touch her. I don't know if I did it too late, but I'm sorry. For everything. Amanda stared at him, her eyes soft but unreadable. Sorry can't erase what I felt. What I still feel. He nodded. But I don't want to lose you, he whispered. We started with love, Amanda. I lost sight of it. I let people poison what we built. Amanda sat down. Quiet. Thinking. Tom reached into his bag and pulled out a small blue envelope. I sold my car yesterday. I want you to expand your business. Open a real shop. A space that reflects who you are. Amanda blinked. You don't owe me. I know, he interrupted. I owe you respect. Tears stung her eyes, but she wiped them quickly. Tom knelt beside her. I'm ready to start again. As your partner, not your master. Amanda stared at him for a long moment. Then she smiled. Let's start with breakfast, she said softly. You're cooking. Tom laughed nervously. I can burn water. Well, she said, standing, you better learn. The maid is on strike. They both laughed, and this time it felt like home again. 2 months later, the house was filled with peace. Not silence peace. No loud insults. No passive-aggressive footsteps. No girls in tight dresses sitting on Amanda's couch, mocking her food. Just her, Tom, and the hum of love returning home. Amanda had opened her boutique shop in town, a small but classy space called Queen Within. Every dress, handbag, and scented candle was picked with care. Women walked in stressed, but walked out feeling beautiful, bold, and brand new. Tom handled the shop's deliveries and online orders. He never sat down doing nothing again. Amanda had become not just his wife, but his mirror. She challenged him to grow, and this time, he rose with her. One bright Saturday morning, Amanda was tying her head wrap when someone knocked on the gate. Tom peeped out. His heart skipped. It was his mother. And Zippy. Amanda looked up from the mirror, calm as ever. Let them in. Zippy entered quietly, her makeup-free face looking strangely humble. She wore jeans and a t-shirt, the kind Amanda used to wear while cooking. Mom and Jerry walked slowly, holding a paper bag. Good morning, she said, barely audible. Good morning, Amanda replied. Silence. Then Mom and Jerry placed the paper bag on the table. I brought you bananas. From my garden. I know you like them, sweet. Amanda looked at the bag, then at her face. I came to say sorry, Mama whispered. For everything. For treating you like a maid. For forgetting you're also someone's daughter. You deserved better than what I gave. Zippy stepped forward. I'm sorry too. I was jealous of your peace. Your discipline. You stayed quiet while I made noise. I was a grown child in your house. Amanda didn't speak right away. She poured juice for everyone. Saturday. Sipped. Then softly said it took strength to come here today. I accept your apology. But I don't need your approval anymore. I found my peace and I intend to protect it. Mom and Jerry nodded, tears brimming. I understand. Amanda leaned back and smiled gently. You're welcome here, but the rules have changed. Respect is no longer optional. Zippy smiled. I wouldn't dare come back as the old me. Amanda chuckled. Good. That girl was loud and exhausting. They all laughed. Later that day, Amanda and Tom walked hand in hand into her boutique. It was glowing. Women lined up, chatting, waiting for her magic touch. A woman with 2 kids whispered, That's Amanda. The owner. She used to be just a housewife. Now look. Amanda heard it and smiled. She wasn't just a housewife. She was a builder. A quiet warrior. The breadwinner who cooked, cleaned, stayed silent, and still conquered. As the sun set behind her shop window, Amanda stood tall. Not for attention. Not for revenge. But for herself. Because finally, they knew who she really was. And she didn't even have to shout. This story teaches that. Never underestimate the silent strength of a woman. A woman's value isn't defined by whether she works outside or stays at home. True power lies in how she carries, sacrifices, and holds the family together. Respect should never be based on appearances. Those who quietly build, give, and endure deserve the loudest honor. Because one day the truth always speaks, and when it does, it shakes the walls.